Hey guys, welcome back to Raiden Reviews. I'm Scott,
And I'm Jordan.
and today we're going to be talking about Wicked.
All right, so this movie is based upon The Wizard of Oz. It is essentially a prequel. It's a worldwide play, and before that, it was a book. Me and Scott have both never seen the play before, and we've also never have read the book. So we came into this movie completely blind, only having seen the commercial. Personally, I don't like musicals. They're not really my thing. I enjoy karaoke. I enjoy good music, but musicals always felt campy and weak to me. I wasn't a La La Land guy. It's not my type of genre of a film, but this film is freaking spectacular. It is a must-see movie. I actually think, in my opinion, that this movie is going to be racking it up at the Academy Awards. It is phenomenal.
Yeah, we just went and saw it in 3D, hence the 3D glasses, and I highly recommend seeing it in 3D. The first few seconds of the movie felt like a ride, like being on a roller coaster. Very immersive, like dropping off cliffs and flying around, like you felt like you were a monkey. I almost felt like I was like on a ride. It was awesome. And it was like that the whole show, like
Yeah.
very immersive. When a boat is pulling in, feel like you're on the boat, or you feel like you're walking right next to the characters. I know they shot it that way, but
Yeah.
but the 3D really enhanced it.
This movie honestly blew my mind. I did not think I was going to go into it like being super into it, but right away, within the first 10 minutes, you feel like you're in the hands of a spectacular filmmaker. And this person, whoever directed it, did an amazing job. The special effects, the set design, they all blend in very well. The world building, you buy into it very quickly. You just fall into the story right away. You don't really need to know much about Wizard of Oz to enjoy this film at all. There's a lot of thematic elements.
It helps if you've seen Wizard of Oz to kind of understand some of the story, because it is a backstory.
Yeah.
So the people I feel like who have seen Wizard of Oz will definitely appreciate some of the different things and the setup of it for sure.
Yeah, of course. You're going to understand the movie at a deeper level, but you don't necessarily have to see The Wizard of Oz to enjoy this film. So kids, this movie is definitely for kids. It's for adults. It's for guys, and it's especially for women. It's essentially about a witch who is an outcast, and she's in theory, a bastard stepchild. She's an outsider. She looks green. She's the only person that looks green. And it is very much like a homage to racism in America.
A lot of themes in this movie. Yeah.
Yeah, so it feels very much like that. It has a lot of similarities to Wednesday, The Grinch, and Harry Potter. I would say it's all those movies.
Wednesday, I thought the same thing. Wednesday, Harry Potter. And
Well,
Grinch.
yeah, I mean this whole story came out way before Wednesday, so to this credit of this film and this play and was way before Wednesday, which is a great Netflix show, one of my favorites, starring a female character. And there's actually a scene that's very much just like Wednesday when you have the very pink fluffy girl and the dark gothic other character.
Yeah,
and they both
the
clash.
opposing roommates. Yeah, for sure.
Wednesday completely stole that from this, for sure.
And the Harry Potter vibes, like you're in a school and they're doing magic, and it was very Harry Potter vibes.
Yeah, and there's even wands here and there, and it's also like the Grinch, the Grinch who stole Christmas. It's the only green person around, and everyone treats her kind of like an outcast and this and that. You also have this other B plot to the film, which is essentially there's like animals that are like, to me, it felt kind of like World War II, the Holocaust in a way. The animals, they were getting hunted down, and there was some sort of vendetta against them. Persecuted. Thank you. That's a good word for it.
Yeah.
So
and they have to go into hiding, and they're very secretive, and they're being silenced. And there's a scene where there's a little lion, and he's put in a cage, and it ends up being the cowardly lion, and they go and they set him free and all this kind of stuff. You kind of see how a lot of the different themes from Wizard of Oz kind of get set up, and some of the characters, how they're introduced, and how a lot of different things are introduced. Like for how they named the yellow brick road. There's a little scene where they're like picking little LED lights on a model, like, oh, let's make it yellow. And I don't know, just putting those little like thoughts in your head, like, oh, that's how it all happened, and how all these different pieces worked and fit together.
There isn't enough good things to say about this movie. The emotional aspect of this film is very much there. You feel the connection. This teaches you so many lessons about even just growing up or just being a good person.
Yeah, being bullied and, just being nice to other people and, not discriminating.
Don't discriminate. Embrace being an outsider. You know, if you're being treated like a bastard stepchild because you're different, you know, be proud of who you are.
There's a lot of love triangles in this one too. So like the little munchkin guy, he likes Ariana Grande, right? But he can't get with her. She's not really interested. And then Ariana Grande likes the prince guy, but he's not really interested in her. And then like the prince guy wants to get with the witch, but she's not really interested in him. So there's kind of like this whole thing going on.
Constant conflict in the whole story. It's
Yeah,
super engaging. Ariana Grande did an amazing job. She's a
yeah.
great talent. Obviously, she's an amazing singer. That's where she came from. She was born for this role. It has a very similar dichotomy to Wednesday, where it's a legally blonde character and essentially a gothic, dark, outsider type character. And they clash. They don't agree with each other. They fundamentally don't think like each other. They don't come from the same background. You know, one's from privilege, one's from one not. One, you know, comes from a higher class, one comes from like a negative class. But the thing about the witch, essentially the one who's the outsider, she has this abnormal ability to do magic. And the other character, the legally blonde Ariana Grande character, she wants to be able to learn magic. That's her thing, is she really wants to become a sorceress. One critique I have on this movie is I feel like the world building is not super strong with understanding why these people want to be sorcerers or how that operates in society.
Yeah, and why are they the only ones that end up being sorcerers in the end, right? Because it's just it ends up there's only two of them that are
How does
that are
it
witches.
work?
Where's the rest of the witches?
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, how does it work? In Harry Potter, explains it right away. You know, you see Hagrid, he's like, you're a wizard, Harry. You know, you get that, like, they are just born with that. But this world, you're confused. You don't understand if, like, they're gonna like learn how to be a
Yeah,
wizard.
it's like
Or
Glinda. Why is that like her main goal in life? We don't really get that.
we don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand what that was about. And the other thing I'll critique about this film too is I don't understand how the Wicked Witch of the West, what this is the story about. I should rewind.
Yeah.
This story is the prequel to Wizard of Oz.
Yeah,
It is about the Wicked
we
Witch of the
start off
West.
on her death. We start
Yeah.
off, we see the puddle, we see the hat, we hear all the munchkins yelling and screaming and going on about her whole entire death, and they're rejoicing. And then the good witch comes in to save the day and tell everybody that everything's going to be okay. And you can tell that she's got them all wrapped around her finger, and that she's the popular one, and nothing wrong with her and all this kind of stuff. And then later in the story, you start to realize that she's very manipulative, and she's like the complete opposite of a good witch. And our wicked character, she's actually the good witch. Our Ariana Grande character is just manipulative and just conniving and just so used to getting her way. And when she is not able to get the apprenticeship from the main wizard or witch lady, she's just doing everything that she can to sneak her way in there, even jumping on the train at the very end to go to the Emerald City, having to make everything about her. Super selfish, all about ego.
This whole story is essentially flipping what you know about the Wizard of Oz on its head. I know probably a lot of people have not seen the play, so essentially it's about the Wicked Witch's story, and it's a little bit like Breaking Bad because you're gonna see this person be a good person, and then I guess Breaking Bad, he's a bad person at the end, so forget that. But it's kind of more like the Grinch. Okay, we all think that the Wicked Witch is bad, and we just we don't know where her backstory is, and this and that. And so this is really kind of flipping the story on its head and being like, well, maybe she's not bad. Maybe she is good. And it's
And even the flying monkeys are like, oh, the flying monkeys are bad. And we realize they're just regular monkeys who are in pain, and you kind of feel for them a little bit too, and you feel for her, and you're kind of like, well, okay, well maybe none of these people are bad. They're just in bad circumstance.
yeah. What I really liked about this film was the chemistry of these two characters. They are at odds with each other. Then at the midpoint of this film, they come together. They both do an act of kindness to each other, and it works. The movie works. The dancing works. The singing works. It's not annoying. The camera work of this film is
Steadicam, so many scenes is just amazing Steadicam choreography, just incredible stuff. Another thing that stood out to me is the way that the audio is recorded. So traditionally in films, you have a boom operator and he's following the action, but it is a musical, so they'll go between dialogue scenes and actual singing to the camera. And traditionally when there's all kinds of stuff going on and dancing, when you see a music video, it's pre-recorded audio, and they're just lip syncing to the song. I really think that they're recording in the different environments, because you can hear they get close to a wall and you can hear that they're in a different space, or they're outside, or another character walks by and then you can hear their audio of the person coming around. So they're really like dancing and singing like a musical, performing in these spaces, where that's, pretty, that's not really very typical to like record live audio while you're dancing and singing. Usually it's like a music video pre-recorded. So I think and it sounds amazing, so that's, not only does it look amazing, but it sounds amazing the way they recorded the live sound, and they switch between live sound singing back to dialogue. And even there's some of their dialogue, they'll be talking and then go into singing and then right back into like just back and
Yeah.
forth conversation. And it's like integrated really well too.
Yeah, and the lead of this movie, I think she's going to get nominated for Best Actress and Academy Award. Every single scene she is in, she owns it. She really is a star. She is going to, I'm sure, blow up after this movie. She happens to be African American. The original Wicked Witch was Caucasian, but you really just feel so connected to this character. You really feel the because a lot of this movie is essentially has a like essentially anti-racist message. It has
It's like inclusivity, because they're also
yeah,
like, like her sister's in a wheelchair, and you want to see her be like included in the group. She gets invited to go to the dance, and
there's
it's
a lot
like,
of great messages.
yeah, it's like, we're uplifting women, we're uplifting
Yeah.
disabled people, we're uplifting people of
And it
color.
doesn't feel
Yeah,
like it's doing it in a super agenda driven way. That's how I feel about it.
yeah, yeah.
I don't like movies that are just cramming messages down my throat for unnecessary reasons. It fits with the plot structure, and I never felt like it was overbearing and hurting the story. And when it reminds you of things from The Wizard of Oz, it does it in a way where it's connected to a plot point, and it's a significant plot point, not like other films like, let's say, Force Awakens, where it just blasts something into it and it's like it's not even that important, but you're just shoving member berries in my face. This does it beautifully. The story structure, the pacing, the dancing. Remember when they're in the library, the comedic aspect
The
of it.
library scene was amazing. The way
Yeah.
the set was like spinning,
Moving.
turning. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was just mind blowing, and the way that the camera was moving, they must have used an Airy Trinity for that when they were like coming in
Choreography.
through there, and then they were spinning at the same time. This movie must have had such a big budget, but you see it on screen.
Yeah.
That's what's so good about this movie, is that everything is on the screen. The emotions are on the screen. The singing is on the screen.
Yeah,
the
the
talent
wardrobe,
is on the
yeah.
screen. The wardrobe is on the scene.
Yeah,
The
makeup. Yeah.
everything about filmmaking. This movie is cinema. I'm telling you right now,
Yeah,
you need to
it's
go
very
out.
inspiring as a filmmaker. You want to aspire to be this level of creativity. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, and the creative aspect of it. There's a lot of things in this movie that are not really seen in even the James Franco Wizard of Oz, but you see things that are just very creative and they feel like they live in that world. And when she goes into the Emerald City, that whole dance number, you just feel like the monumentous amount of importance in that moment. Like how complex. There are different types of dance. You see a little bit of modern, you see a little bit of this and that. It's just, it honestly is a fantastic film. What would you rate this film?
This is up there, probably a 9.
Yeah.
I'd give it a solid 9. Yeah.
I would give this movie a 9.5. And the only reason it doesn't get a 10, in my opinion, and once again, I want to remind everyone, I'm not a musical person. It has 2 female leads. I'm very much, an action-packed
We haven't read the
Schwarzenegger
books. Yeah.
kind of guy. I'm looking at it from an objective point of view and a non-biased point of view. This is a very special film. I think it's going to make $1 billion at the box office. I think it's going to collect all sorts of awards. In my opinion, I think it's going to get nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adaptive Screenplay, Best Special Effects, Best Production Design. I would guarantee you it's going to collect a couple awards at this next go around. I'm going to give it a 9.5. And the only
Wow.
reason only reason I don't give it a 10, because I think it is nearly a flawless film. I do think that the third act of this movie does slow down just a little tiny bit. only because there's so much momentum in the first and second act. They are absolutely flawless. You care about almost every single one of these characters. You really understand the main character and how unloved she feels. And I think a lot of people in the world can kind of understand how that person feels, or a person of color being in an environment where you're in a minority and you have to work twice as hard as everybody else. I connected with this character in many different ways. I think she is an amazing talent. I think you need to see this movie. The only thing I would say that I would critique on this film is I don't understand how she is a witch. Now, I know they allude to it with Elixir,
Yeah,
and there's
I agree that the third act definitely slowed down. I think you missed it too. There's a scene in the very beginning when the dad leaves and the mom kind of has an affair, and this guy comes in and they have this big long dance scene with a steady cam moving around, and they're drinking this green elixir, and you don't really kind of put two and two together, but that was the Wizard of Oz who was with the mom, kind of like having an affair with the mom, and you kind of don't see his face.
But by the way, we did find this out by Google. Okay, you don't. I didn't catch it on screen either. I don't think most audiences are going to catch that.
Yeah, but we
on
had
screen.
we had
So,
to look into it to figure it out.
Yeah, but we're using outside knowledge here, so just want to tell you, like,
It's not something that you're gonna catch right away. I mean, maybe you do, but or maybe you've read the book, or maybe you've seen the play, and you kind of understand that that's the dad.
I didn't catch that at all either.
But it kind of made sense because later in that third act, when you do see the Jeff Goldblum character, he's talking about, oh, I want to be a dad. I feel like everybody's my sons and daughters, and he has these little models of himself, and he gives one to the main character, like, here you are, the little wicked witch, and you can be with me, and you kind of start to understand that he is the dad, is her dad, but he's not a good guy.
No, but that doesn't actually have everything to do with what I was saying. I just want to know, are there any other green witches with these superpowers? And how are they made? Because the two parents are, I mean, they're both like Caucasian, or one, I think the mom is like half African American. I just want to know how this came to be, where it's a green baby and it has like all these superpowers. I know that there is an elixir that's involved.
They make some connections too.
It's not explained thoroughly, and that's for me. Like, you have 2 hours and 40 minutes. You could have explained that a little bit better.
There's more movies though in the world though. There's the Wizard of Oz. There's going to be a sequel to this one as well.
No, yeah,
so you need to also understand like there's some, like, the main witch lady. She says, "Oh, I am able to connect with weather," right? So she when our main wicked character comes out, she puts an umbrella over her, like, "Oh, let's make sure that you don't get wet," because she knows that if she gets wet, she'll die.
Yeah.
Right? The main character doesn't even understand that if she gets wet, she'll die, but she goes and protects her with the umbrella. And then also,
I'm sure she's got to know. I mean, there's got to be a way she knows.
Yeah, but it's not. But it's like she's unconscious of being wet. It's not like she goes and runs away when the rain comes, right?
Yeah.
But she doesn't understand. But the other lady knows, like, oh, we can't get this.
No, I caught that. I caught that.
Yeah, and she can control the weather, and she pushes the storm away.
What I'm saying is, I want more of her backstory and her species of Wonder Witch. The one thing too that is really important to the plot that I think could have had benefited with one more scene was there's a very strong pro animal theme in this, and she was essentially like raised by a nanny bear. And then later on in the story, it becomes super important. And I kind of wish we saw that nanny bear somewhere in the second act. Or like the nanny bear somehow connects with the witch. And, we could have remembered how important that relationship was. Because it's so important to the second and especially the third act of the film. Because she pretty much blows up the freaking Emerald City, flies off on a broom, and like flips everybody off. I want to really feel the importance of that.
Well, also, what's the beef? So the Wizard of Oz has some beef with animals. Why? Why doesn't he like animals?
He did explain that he needed a boogeyman, but I don't know why he.
Yeah, but why? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's another thing. That's a good point. Is like, I need to understand. Like, it would help me understand the stakes if you would give me a little bit more and be like, why are you creating this like anti-animal
why are you demonizing the animals?
Yeah, are you in an election right now? Like, what's going on? You know what I mean?
Are they
like
threatening your
yeah. So those things, yeah, that's a valid criticism right there.
They make the Wizard of Oz or the Emerald City and like this main witch lady almost seem like politicians. Right? She gets on the microphone and she at the very end she's like spewing propaganda like, okay, so now the Wicked Witch,
Yeah.
she's wicked and she's evil and she has green skin, she's ugly, everybody hate her, she's the enemy, go attack her, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you see that kind of stuff like on the news, like they're spewing propaganda about whatever it is, and you know it's like they have the power to spin whatever agenda they want over the whole city, and you're a minority or somebody and you don't have a voice, you can't stick up for yourself or
Oh
whatever,
yeah, I
all
like
you can
that.
do is run away, you know.
I thought that was brilliant how
Yeah,
like, they're able to turn the whole narrative against her, and you're essentially, they're essentially like feeding it into, hey, this is what the original was, like it's not what it really was. And I think that is actually brilliant storytelling. I'm with it. I like the creative thematic elements to this film. It's really well done. There is some little critiques that are there. That's why I give it a 9.5.
I felt like this was more about Ariana Grande's backstory in a lot of ways. I felt like I was more on a ride with her,
Yeah.
understanding who she was and understanding how manipulative and egotistical and just how much of
It says a lot about
a bitch she
society.
is.
Well, the one great scene was when she was about to go on the train to go to the Emerald City, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna change my name to
Yeah.
help the animal cause," and they're all like crying and this, and it reminds me of virtue signaling.
Yeah, she takes a little bow and like
Yeah, this is what these people actually do in the political spectrum. They're like, "Hey, call me by this, and don't call." They're like
I'm
trying
not
to.
Glenda anymore. I'm Glenda. Yeah, just to make, and it's about the animals, and it's like she's just attention
Yeah,
seeking.
it's
Yeah,
attention virtue
yeah.
signaling, and they did a good job at poking fun at those people that do that in politics. This is a fantastic film, guys. You need to see it. See it in IMAX. Take your whole
See it in
family.
3D. The 3D is where it's at.
It's an excellent film, guys. Don't miss this one.
All right, that's all we have for you guys today. Thanks again for watching. Make sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you can get the notifications when we post a new video. Yeah, that's all. Have a good one, guys. Take it easy.